Welcome to the joy of coding.
Hello, and welcome to episode 55 of The Joy of Coding. My name is Mike Conley. As you can see today, I'm partially transparent. I made the mistake of wearing a yellow shirt. And even though, like this, you can't see this behind me, this is a green piece of fabric. And for some reason, OBS thinks my yellow shirt is green in this lighting, and like right here. I don't know, maybe I can like angle my body differently. I'm really not sure what I can do about this. I could probably like shine a lamp at myself or something, but like you might just have to survive with me having a semi-transparent shoulder. Sorry about that. Hi, I'm Mike Conley. Welcome to the Joy of Coding. We're going to be hacking on Firefox. We're going to be doing some great stuff today. I hope you're excited. I'm excited. I'm going to show you my screen. This is my screen. Here is today's agenda. Let me bump up the font. Today's agenda. Whoop. As usual, if this is your first time, I want you to know that this agenda is actually for you to use if you want it. Like, you can access it and see changes as I'm like making them. There's a link to the live version of this agenda down below in the additional links section on Air Mozilla. If you're watching this on YouTube, it'll be in the description. So, let's see. Is my mic? I'm just doing some self-check here. Is my mic on? Yes, it is. Am I recording? Yes, I am. Great. And I'm boosting my font size still, and that the feedback I've been getting from the boosted font size has been good. So I'm going to keep doing that. One thing I wanted to mention: no episode next week. Sad face. I got asked to do a thing, and it falls right on the slot where The Joy of Coding normally airs, and I can't give up this opportunity. So I'm gonna do this thing, and so there'll be another episode the week after. So 56 will end up being a missing episode. Sorry about that. So I didn't actually finish writing in what I wanted to do today. We can do that right now. There's this other bug I'm working on. This bug, and I can easily search for it by looking up the word rat's nest in my awesome bar, because it's this bug. Whoops. Refactor the NS window watcher open window internal method to not be such a rat's nest. And so I'm going to put a link to that in here so that you can follow along. Boop, boop, boo. And my notes, which are copious at this point, quite a lot of notes. I'm going to put that in here as well. And that's interesting. Evernote will reset the zoom every time I move back and forth. But that's okay. So that's what's going on. I'm going to be working on that. But the first thing I want to do is I want to file a bug for a stranger. So someone reached out to me on Twitter. And they said, this thing in Firefox is broken. And I said, well, and sometimes like I'll help someone debug something over Twitter, but normally I'd rather we do it in Bugzilla. So the stuff that's being reported, I want to file a bug for, and then tell the person over Twitter that we filed a bug for them. So I'm going to go through that. The other thing I want to mention is I got some feedback that some people want to join the live hacking chat, and they don't know how. They don't know how to do it, and that's totally cool. I'm going to show you how to do it really, really quickly. So in the agenda, if you go back down to the agenda link in additional links, there's a link in the agenda here for a web-based IRC client. That's what we use to chat, IRC. If you go to that link, you get this like, you're at this Mibit website, which is a web-based IRC client. And in this nick field, you give yourself a name like, I'm a guest. That's my name now. And it's automatically chosen to go to the live hacking channel, and you hit go after you put in your name. Then after a little while, bam, you're put into the room. Or you should be. Shoot. Hello? This is not working. I don't see everybody. Oh, I'm on. You know what? I've got a bad link here. This is bad. This link used to work, but I think it's busted now. It's supposed to be using the irc.mozilla.org server, and instead it's using the irc.mibit.net server. Interesting. So something's gone wrong here with my link. Maybe I can correct that right now. Launch the Mibit client. I'm going to Mozilla Nick. I'm a guest. Channel, live hacking. Connect. And there we are. Now we're connected. Okay, so that's interesting. So this link is no longer good. I'm going to get rid of that. And instead, I'm going to put in a link to, we're going to do that exercise again. I'm going to just do it all over again. So we go to mibit.com, and then we launch Mibit client. Whoop, Mibit client. Then choose Mozilla under the server that we want to connect to, the Mozilla WebIRC in the select drop down next to connect, and then give yourself a unique nickname. If you don't have a unique, if the nickname you give is like Mike or something, I'm certain that there's someone else named Mike on the channel, so you have to give yourself like a unique nickname. So add some numbers or something, and then you add set the channel to live hacking, hit connect, and then you're there. So I'm a guest, channel live hacking, hit connect, and then after a second, while it sorts itself out, bam, I'm here, I can chat now, and then I'm in that room as well, and I can say hello. See, that's me talking back to you. So now hopefully that makes it a little bit clearer on how to do that. That was not a thing. I was not expecting that link to be busted, but for future reference, I will use this set of instructions. So good, glad we figured that out. Okay, so we've done the chat thing. I want to file this bug for a stranger. So that's the next thing. So the stranger here was this fellow on Twitter, Tapper82, and he's talking about live bookmarks being broken. Save a live bookmark in Nightly, then go to the subfolder in the bookmark menu, and it will say the bookmark failed to load. Now, live bookmarks isn't a thing I've used recently, so I'd have to like refresh my memory. But let's see if we can reproduce this. So I'm gonna open up the bookmarks toolbar. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do this in a new profile. Let's do this in my E10S profile. I got our toolbar here, bookmarks toolbar, and then what did the reporter say? Save a live bookmark in Nightly, then go to the subfolder in the bookmark menu, and it will say the bookmark failed to load. So maybe it's not actually, so the bookmark menu's up here, so maybe it's supposed to be in here that the reporter is talking about. So let's check that out. What is a live bookmark? If I go to my own blog, a little bit of self-plug here, I can probably say, like, add this as a live bookmark, probably. There's like a feeds. I have to, where's the feeds button? Oh, I already have it up here. Feed, add it to the live bookmark. I'm going to add it to the bookmarks menu. Subscribe. And now if I go to bookmarks here, live bookmark is loading, live bookmark is loading. And it does nothing. I wonder, is that, oh, there it is. There it is. It got there eventually. It just took a little while. Interesting. So I can make it work, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to file a bug anyways. Whoops, I'm going to go back to my main profile here. I'm going to file a bug anyways, and then maybe, oops, wrong site. Maybe the reporter can talk about, we can narrow in on what's going wrong with the reporter's setup. So live bookmarks failed to load. Sometimes fail to load. Is that what we call them? Live bookmarks? Live marks. maybe it's just live marks sometimes fail to load in bookmarks menu. Filing on behalf of Tapper82 on Twitter. See this conversation for context. So there's a conversation here. Tapper82's STRR. STR means steps to reproduce. So that means, like, what does one need to do in order to see the bug? Save a live bookmark in Nightly. Go to the subfolder in the bookmark menu, and we'll say that the bookmark failed to load. Save a live mark in Nightly. Go to the subfolder in the bookmark menu, and it will say the bookmark failed to load. I cannot actually wait, hold on. There's two other parts in bookmarks menu. So expected results, that's the other part of STRs. Expected results and actual results. Expected results should be able to see the live mark load. Actual results, live mark reports that it's unable to load. I'm actually not able to reproduce this myself, but I'm opening this bug so that I can try working with the reporter to see what is different about their setup. Okay. I might also, maybe LiveMark failed to load Firefox. I wonder if there's like a sumo article. Clicking. LiveMark bookmark feed failed to load, should perform refresh. When one gets the live bookmark feed failed to load from, say, not yet authorizing with the proxy server, clicking on the failed to load line should automatically attempt to refresh. I wonder if that's it. That there's like there's a proxy for this user. Can't connect live bookmark, feed fails to load. Authentication support. So what I'm going to ask is, I'm going to tell this, I'm going to tell this reporter that I filed their bug. Filed at, I'm unable to reproduce. Can you supply more information, like which feed you're reading? Unable to reproduce. Alright, I'm going to free up some characters. Filed at that, unable to reproduce. Can you supply more information there so that they hopefully respond in the bug? Because I'd rather not do this over Twitter. And that is done. Okay, so filed a bug. My new bug is here. I'm going to put that in my notes. File a bug for stranger. Done. I'll put a link to the bug. So now to the meat and potatoes of this episode. The meat and potatoes. Oh, according to Oznock, the link in the additional links section worked for them. Hey, yeah, that one worked. So maybe it's just wrong in my agenda. Maybe I just had a bad link in my agenda. That's possible. So maybe there. Maybe that's what I need. Alright. Thank you, Oznock. Thank you, Oznock. Okay. So, to the meat and potatoes. What are we doing today? So there's this function, there's this method on... We have this thing. It's been around for a long, long time, and it helps Gecko manage windows. Like, it knows when windows open. It allows you to iterate open windows. It allows you, like, this thing, Window Watcher, is pretty intense. Let's look at the documentation. DN NSI Window Watcher is the interface. Seriously? NSI Window Watcher. There it is. This component has like get Chrome for a window, get a new auth prompter, get a prompter. It like is able to manipulate windows and do things with windows. It doesn't really describe what its like in general responsibility is. I think it was part of the embedding thing, because at some point, like whenever you embed, if you were to embed Gecko back when we were like an embedded engine, or we better supported being embedded, you could embedders could implement this interface to make it like I guess easier to host the windows that the browser might want to open and stuff. Anyways, this is the thing, NSI Window Watcher, and we have inside NS Window Watcher. I'm actually going to pull up the source in DXR. Path NS Window Watcher.cp. Here's the implementation, and anytime you open a window, ever, like even if it's and when I would say window, it's not even necessarily like an actual window. It might actually be a tab. In the context of Gecko, though, what you've opened is a new DOM window, something that can load web content. That's a DOM window. And so for the purposes of, like, Gecko doesn't care at this level whether or not you're opening a tab or a window. You are opening a DOM window. And so there are a couple of ways of doing that. Sometimes the user will do it when they click on a link that has target equals underscore blank. And that will like open a new tab by default whenever you click on it. The user can also be configured to open those in new windows. By default, we go to new tabs, but it's possible that those will open new windows. And the other, another way that new windows are sometimes open is just within JavaScript. Let me pump up the font here. Window.open, and then I like go to some place like Mozilla.org, and then give it a name, and then some features like width equals 100, height equals 100. That will open a new window as well, and that's all going through the Window Watcher. So Window Watcher takes care of all of that business, and there are a number of different ways of entering Window Watcher. There's like this open window. There's this open window method. There is like open window 2. There's like all these different ways of doing it, but eventually they all boil down to this, like they all end up calling this one method, which is called open window internal. And this is what I want to refactor. This is the thing that I think needs refactoring. Let me show you why. Or I'm going to try and show you why. First of all, this method is immense. It starts on line 499 and goes on forever. I think it ends up on, yeah, it ends at line 1134. So where did we start? It's like 499 to 11, so like 500 lines. 500 lines in this one method. That's not great. And it's a very complicated method. Like it's doing a lot of things. There are a lot of side effects of calling this method. And I understand that. I mean, opening windows is serious business. But one of the problems is that there are multiple ways and multiple reasons why one might enter this this method. Like all of these different arguments kind of like, some of them, if they're null, then we behave in a certain way. If like some of these bools are false, we'll behave in a particular way. So like there are all these like variations on how this method will behave based on the arguments, which is fine, except that it's gotten really, really complicated. Sometimes like it's not so simple as like flipping a bool and like it behaves one way, or flipping a bool the other way and it behaves the other. I mean, it might also depend on whether or not an argument is available, and then this might be ignored, or like it's just gotten really entangled. And there are three cases in particular that I want to discuss and want to sort of factor apart from this sort of large method. The first, and you should check out my notes, because I've got these notes here for this particular bug, and these notes are where I've been doing all my thinking. I've been working on this for a couple of days, just the thinking part. I haven't actually written anything yet. Or if I have, it's mostly been throwaway code, just experimenting. But what I've done is I've broken out, I've sort of broken down the three main users of this method and what they're trying to do. And the three main users of this method I can think of are, in general, the following. One, the parent process has loaded something, or is running something, or is responding to some event that wants us to open a new window or tab that is going to be hosted in the parent process. So that's like how Firefox has worked in single process mode forever. Like that's the single process case. Something in the same process has asked for a new window or tab. Bam, that's one. Two, we are in, NS Window Watcher also runs inside the content process, and that's where things get a little tricky. So the other user of this method is, we're inside the content process, and we are going to ask our parent for a new window, and then do like all of the like down and dirty doc shell manipulation down in the content process. Now the third user is, we are the parent again, but we are responding to the content process having asked for a new window, which is slightly different. It's like the assumptions are definitely different between all of these in terms of which process we're running in, what we're trying to do with this window, and what's available to us. And then there are a couple of things that are common throughout. But for the most part, there are these three discrete chunks, or three distinct use cases. One problem is that they're all kind of interleaved, like they're all kind of smashed together. So I took just chunks of the source code and I tried to like demonstrate which parts are used, which parts are not used, which parts are like used for particular processes or use cases, which ones are not. And I broke it down into three main chunks. The three chunks are, there's the preparation phase, there's the actual getting or creating a new window phase, and then there's the setting that window up properly phase. Those three phases. And everything is all kind of smashed together in those three phases. And so what do I want to do? Well, I was thinking and humming and hawing, and I was trying to come up with like, that exercise of examining what's being used and where was useful because it showed me that there's a lot of overlap between the parent-only case, where we're loading something for the parent within the parent process, and the content case. There's a lot of overlap between the logic here. There's also a little bit of overlap between the parent-only and the parent from content case. So that also is useful. And then there's not actually a whole lot that's common between all three. That's actually very little. So I think that that's going to sort of inform the refactoring is what I wrote here. So I have to keep that in mind while we refactor. So what do I want to do? Like, what's the first step? How does one break something like this apart? And I guess I talked to a bunch of different people. I talked to a bunch of developers here at Mozilla trying to come up with like, what's the best strategy here? Because this code is old, battle-hardened, crufty. Probably there are some bugs in there. There's also security stuff that is set up in there, and I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to make things worse. So how do you even begin to break this apart without destroying everything? So the first thing I did was I identified some important tests. These are tests that are like, this is opening windows from content and making sure that that works properly. And so I wrote that test a long time ago whenever we added support for opening windows to E10S. So that's good. That test is actually probably going to be very useful. The other use case is one that I hadn't considered until like earlier this morning when it was brought to my attention, having poked at the code, that we have these things called service workers now. Service workers can run in the background for a page even when the page, I believe, is not loaded. If the page is like, I don't know, you go to, I'm trying to think of a good example here. There's like a service worker cookbook. Let's see if I can find an example. Service worker cookbook. Here's the service workers. And then, let's see, is there anything in here about opening a window? Window. Service worker, open window. Because that's the case I'm trying to deal with. Clients.openWindow is what it's called. Clients.openWindow. Where is clients? Push clients. Is that what it is? No. Demo. Clients.openWindow. Where's a good example? Well, this is it being used in an MDN anyway. So if you're a service worker, you should be able to like open a window to a particular URL if the user has given you the permission to do that. And like that's, I think, particularly useful. Oh, I understand. It's for if the this method is allowed to show pop-ups only when called as the result of a notification click event. So the user has to click on something, in particular like a notification that's come up. So you can have a service worker running in the background and have it send a like notification even whenever the page is not loaded. So let me try and give an example. Notification delay, let's say 10 seconds. Click this button to ask the server to send a notification. So in 10 seconds, let's see if that happens. Meanwhile, I'm going to close the tab and let's see if it loads. Notification didn't work. I wonder if I did that wrong. Oh, did I give it permissions? Always receive notifications. That's what we've got to do. So 10 seconds. I've sent the request. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hey, there's my notification. Outstanding. So a service worker was running in the background even though the tab was closed. So a service worker ran for that page. Then a notification came up. And if the user clicks on that notification, we need to be able to open a window to a particular place. And that's a thing that's also going to go through our window opener, our window watcher thing. So that's the thing to keep in mind. And in particular, we need to keep that working for the content process case, the multi-process case. Because here's what I'm doing. Here's where I'm at in the refactor. I've decided to take the thing that seems the most. If you imagine this method as like a bunch of responsibilities and things overlapped, for me it's easiest to just try and find one continuous chunk that's relatively isolated from the rest and then extract it out. Just try and take that out to simplify this whole system. And then, it's kind of like pickup sticks. You just try and untangle and untangle and untangle. And the piece that I've decided to try and take out is the piece where in the content process is asking for the window from the parent. So this is the parent process's perspective. They want the content process has asked for a new window, and we're going to open one for them. So we're in the parent process. So what have I got so far? Where did I get to? I'm also just going to make sure that no one is asking me anything that is an emergency. That's important. Okay. Where have I gotten to? I've gotten to the point where we had this code inside content parent. Content parent is the, I guess whenever you have a content process, there are two sides to communication between the content process and the child process, or the parent process and the child process, or content process, same thing. And there are different. There's kind of a hierarchy in sort of in terms of things that can communicate. But at the highest level, you have the content parent and the content child, and these two can send messages back and forth to one another. And so send, receive, create window. Whenever the child process is asking for a new window, it'll ask the content parent. So a message will come, the content parent will receive it, and then it'll do the work to actually make the window happen, and then hand the useful result back to the child. And so this is the code that I'm sort of dealing with down at the start here. So like there's all this preamble that I think we're gonna have to keep in mind. We're gonna have to not lose track of it. But towards the middle here, we see the case of opening a new tab, which is apparently a pretty straightforward case. I seem to recall having written this, but now reading it, it's like it's not so easy. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. This is the harder case. This is the case where we're actually opening a window instead of a tab, and then we do all this like preparation, and then we finally return true with an NSOK saying that yes, the window was open properly and it's working with the tab parent that we expected. There's a lot of like context here, and I've been thinking about this method for a long, like 2 full-blown days now with minor interruptions. So it's hard for me to kind of splat it all out, but if you're interested in getting some of that context, you should read my notes, because there's a lot of them, and they will help illustrate the context. So where am I right now? What do I want to do? So I've tried to extract, I've got this thing now, I've created a new method, and a new method signature, or a header, called open window for content. This is a new thing I'm making, and it's going to return an NSI tab parent. And I wonder if this is the right thing to do. And this is what I think is going to be called by content parent. Instead of, what was it calling before? If you look at what content parent calls now, it calls, shoot, where did I go? Content parent.cpp. Also, I realized that I'm configured now to open links in new windows, and I don't want to do that. Why am I opening things in new windows? Like, why is that opening in a new window? Is it because, wait, what? Is this my custom build? That's why, because it's my custom build. Okay. And that's why it's broken. Okay. Let's not worry about that for now. I'm going to quit that build. Over here, yeah, content parent. So instead of calling open window 2, I'm going to have it call into my new function, because open window 2 eventually feeds into open window internal, and I don't want it to do that. I want to keep them separated. So I'm having it call this open window for content instead, but I want to make sure I do all of the same sort of security checks that that one would expect. And a thing I need to keep in mind then is that service worker stuff, because I had assumed, having just first like kind of splatting out this method signature here, I had assumed that we would have a tab parent, an opening tab. But whenever you open a new window for the content for a service worker, you don't get an opening tab. It does not exist. And so that is very important. I think it's important to sort of look at what can be passed to the client open window. Whoops. Client open window service worker. Like, what kind of things can be passed to the open window? Loads a given URL. I think you can just pass a URL, so that's good. Because that means that there's a lot of stuff we don't need to be able to handle, like the features string. And And I don't want to get into that same trap where like this handles opening the window. Um, hmm. I might want to create a separate method for opening window for service worker, or open window for headless content. Yeah, I think that might be better. Open window for headless content. And then currently what do we do whenever the content process doesn't send us a tab parent or an opener? If we don't get an opener, so that means that we're a service worker. Um, that means this tab parent will be null, and we return false if. Okay, that's fine. If we do the tab parent, then we set the frame. We set a frame. This so there's like already we have all these like weird conditions in here. Tab parent, owner element, get DOM window. If there's a tab parent, if there's no parent, if we haven't found a Chrome window to open in, just use the most recently opened one. Now I'm wondering if that's something that was added whenever the so the client.openWindow support, where was that added? Resolved open window. Here we go. Desktop. Clients.openWindow for desktop. That's what we want to do. Boop, boop, boop. And the E10S support was put in here, and I think it's important for us to understand how the E10S support works. And I had read this a long time ago, and now I no longer remember. But it's important that we understand how it works. So the first thing that we have is in the content process, I guess we can get the content, a window provider for the content process. Okay, fair enough. Okay, no big deal. Then what happened was, in content child, we might not have a tab opener whenever we call provide window common. It's possible to not have a tab child opener. So what we're doing is we're creating an IPC context. We make sure we have an IPC context. And then, what do we do? If we have a tab opener, then the new tab context is either the tab opener or the tab context. Okay. We create the new tab child, or the new tab child, passing in either the tab opener or the tab context. If there's a tab opener, do all of this stuff as well. Pass in the context. And then down here, if we have a tab opener, we get the base URI string, and then that's when we send create window message. I see. We send all this stuff up, and a tab opener is not going to be anything. That's interesting. Okay, and then the content parent, this is where I think the important stuff is. These changes to content parent. So we notice that we start with the tab parent being null, and if we have it, oh, that's handy. I can just do that instead of casting. So before I was doing this casting thing inside here, but it turns out I can, instead of doing that, I can do opening tab equals tab parent get from, and then a opening tab parent. That's handy. So if ns warneth this tab parent and we're that, then we return false. If we have a tab parent, then we get the frame. If we have a tab parent, we get the browser DOM window. If we have a tab parent, then we set the use private browsing context. Load context. Sorry, we get the private browsing context from the opener. Interesting. NSI content parent can open browser. Oh, there's a lot of stuff in here. Okay. Service worker client. Then what do we do if we're in the content process? We do open window 2 with null, 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 false, false, true. So complicated. Okay. Okay. So my question is, well, there's this stuff inside content parent that's like, if we haven't found a Chrome window to open in, just use the most recently opened one. Where does that come from? I thought that would come from this. So let's use blame to find out. Recently. And I think that was just a style change, so parent. If anyone watching has suggestions on how else I can refactor this, let me know.
Here we go!
Recently. So Catalan did add this stuff. Where though? In what change? Let's move p browser create window to p content. So that was an earlier part. That was over here. Content parent. So there's more information here. In content parent, when we receive the create window, he's put in this stuff about like recently opened one. But was that already in, like, because it was moved from tab parent recently. So there was already stuff in here about doing that. I have a feeling this is from way back in the day, even before I added the window opening stuff. But let's just do a little bit more archaeology. Let's see. Parent. Oh no, hang on. DOM IPC tab parent. Annotate. Just use receive create window. Oh, shoot, come on. Yeah, this is not what I wanted. Annotate the parent. Recently. Here it is. Bill added this way back in the day. Don't crash when opening new tabs from closed windows. So this was back Firefox 38 was an M5 filed a year ago. This turns out to be a real rat's nest. The base problem is that window closing is very racy to nest. Change the time bits, these bugs are easier to hit. But I don't think it changed anything fundamental. User clicks on a link, his on-click handler closes the current window. Window closed, call sends a message to the parent asking it to close the tab. Since the tab is the last one on the Chrome window, the parent closed the Chrome window. Closing the Chrome window is not immediate. Instead, we spin the event loop twice and then actually close it. Meanwhile, in the child process, the on-click handler returns and we try to open the link in a new tab. Doing so takes a few messages. We need to make a P browser, send create window, then create a P render frame. This stuff needs to finish before the Chrome window is closed and the parent, or else the parent's message handler will return false and will intentionally kill the child. However, that needs to decide what to do. Non-need to nest Firefox behavior here is a little strange in my opinion. In the crash HTML test I attached, there are 3 variations of the test. First variation is non-need to nest Firefox opens the link in a new tab, and that tab stays open. In the last variation, the link is never opened. Chrome's behavior seems more reasonable to me. It always opens the link in a new tab and leaves the tab open. If there isn't an obvious window to open to do it, it picks the most recent window. That's why. Okay, and do we land a test? Yes. Yes. A test was added. Let's make sure this is still in the tree. Oh, come on. Path. Yes, there it is. This is a test that we should test. We should make sure that I run these. I'm collecting tests to make sure I run. So we want to maintain that behavior. If there's no window, use the most recently opened one. I thought that had something to do with service workers, but it doesn't. Content parent. So what I'm thinking is creating a new method, open window for headless content, where there is no tab parent. And there are no features. All we want is a result. All we want. Like, I'm pretty sure in the service worker case, all they want whenever they call create window, they just wanted a success case and the window having been opened. Pretty sure that's it. Nullable P browser, this tab. Okay. So that's what I'm thinking. Like, open window for headless content. How about open window for tab content is what I'll call this method, actually, instead of, and I'll rename for tab content. And we'll create a new method here. Open window for headless content. And it doesn't return anything. It is just a void. I think. Hang on a second. Content child, whenever it sends that message, content child.cpp, normally we send back a what? Send create window. Create window. SI content child. Where is this thing? Create window. What? Send create window. Where are you? Yeah, it was in content child. What the F? Alright, so we're expecting that, and that. A texture factory identifier and a layers ID to all come back from that. And a lot of this stuff, I think, is going to be handled by the content parent and not the, like, the texture factory identifier stuff is determined from here, all within the receiver of the message. And like this itself probably could use some refactoring as well, the caller. But I don't care about that. I'm caring strictly about window watcher. Same with the frame scripts. The frame scripts never get passed to window watcher. So what does it expect to get back? Whether or not the window is new. No, it just wants a return value. And like all of these things, the frame scripts, the URL to load, the window is new. Yeah, that's true. It wants to know if the window is new, frame scripts, URL to load, texture factory identifier, and layers ID. And this will always be true in this particular case for the headless one. URL to load. What is URL to load? I don't even know. What is done with that? Content child. Send create window. What is done with this? Oh, we've been told to load a URL. Interesting. And assuming if it's not empty, then we actually do load it. So the parent can instruct the child to have loaded a URL immediately. Alright. That's interesting. Is that ever a thing that... No, I don't think that's ever a thing that... I don't think that's ever a thing that service workers care about. We open a window for headless content. There's no opener, but a P browser has been created. Okay, so NSI tab parent, we probably do actually want to return this. Used by service workers, used by the service worker APIs, that client.openWindow API. This allows notifications to open new remote windows. Open new windows to open new windows. Open new windows. Notification handlers. New top level windows. Open window for headless content. Returns the NSI tab parent of the initial browser for the newly opened window. I think that's right. I think that's what we want. So that's good. We can extract the service worker case as well. We just have to make sure we choose to call this in the event that, you know, there is no opener. Okay. Okay, so let's just see if that builds. Let's see how bad that is. Like, is that even valid C++ that I've written? Let's find out. Nope. Although maybe I need to do a full build if I've changed. Receive create window. Let's not override any member functions. Hang on. Let's do that, but let's also take a look inside the objdir that all the generated headers go into. CD, IPC, IPDL. Mozilla, IPC, or DOM, content parent. P content parent. I can't CD into that. That's no good. Also, I should probably bump up the font size here. What I'm trying to do is, like, I had that error before, and I'm curious to know if I just need to do a rebuild or if this is like a legit problem. And it's complaining that contentparent.h has never heard of receive create window, which is strange. So let's take a look at contentparent.h. And the receive create window stuff is being inherited by a sort of a dynamically generated header that gets spat out by our IPDL parser. That's the IPDL is like this language definition for, like, protocol definition for communication between processes. So on 503, it's complaining that at 503, line 503 here, this receive create window does not match the one that's expected. Let's see if I can find it. So this is receive create window. Oh, no, it built. It built properly. Wait, no, hang on. I'm wrong. This is a red herring. This is the one that's still building. Too many windows. I'm gonna close some windows. They're distracting. Okay. So here's the receive create window method. And does this match what I've got here? Layers ID, this, I don't think I touched this at all, so I'm pretty sure that this should still match called from JS. Specify name, features, base, margin, attributes, full zoom. What a mess. This is a real mess in here. URL to load. Yeah, this is all fine. This should build. I don't know what it's complaining about. I have a feeling I just need to do a full-blown rebuild. You can't do mock build binaries after you change like XPIDL or something. Oh. All right, where are we at? So assuming that works out, now we need to intelligently call this whenever we realize that we're opening something for a service worker. And where would that be? That'd be down here. If no, this tab parent, like this is my super hacky way of doing this. PW watch open window for headless content, and then pass it the getter add refs new remote tab. Else because we weren't past an opener tab, this must be for we must be opening this. The content process has asked us to open a new window that is unrelated to a pre-existing tab. For tab, maybe it shouldn't be headless, maybe it should be tabless content. Open window for tabless content. Open window for tab content for tabless content. Maybe that makes more sense. For tab content for tabless, not headless, tabless content. Then window watcher for for tabless. I'll bet that is going to freak it out. Build. I wonder if there's like a bunch of simplification we can do in here. Like maybe we can get to this stuff early. Because I bet a lot of this is irrelevant for service workers. Okay. So that takes care of, well, it doesn't take care of it, but it isolates the service worker case. And in the service worker case, I wonder if there's some simplifications we can do. Like, what was added to content for the window watcher? If there's no parent, consider it Chrome when running in the parent process. If no parent, there's no parent, we do that. If parent tree owner, if we're in the content process, we don't have a tab child we can use. Oh, that's interesting. So this is the case where we're opening for a tab because there's a parent tree owner. Otherwise, if we don't have a parent, that's the difference. You have a parent or you don't have a parent. If you have no parent in the content process here, you're opening it for a headless, or you're doing the tabless service worker thing. Okay. So what do we do? What do we... oh, it still doesn't like it. First thing to do is let's just get this to build. 504. It's never even heard of that, and that's why, because I renamed this. Now I can probably do build binaries. No viable conversion, so there's another problem here. So error, incomplete type, tab parent named a nested name specifier. Tab parent. Right. Tab parent get from. So we can put that inside here. For now, I guess. Now it doesn't like it because tab parent is not found. So where do we define tab parent H? Maybe it's in Mozilla DOM. That's where it is. Okay. Mozilla DOM tab parent. Oh, I've had this one before. What is this? What does this mean? Shoot, what does this mean? I think it means. Is it necessary for me to get at the raw tab parent? It might be. Open window for tab content. Get the NSI tab parent. What is that? NSI tab parent is what? Tab ID. Has content opener. So one thing I think I can do to defeat this build problem. Watcher / moz.build. I think I have to like include this IPC stuff. Like where? Sorry, tab parent.h. Moz.build. There's this like step, I think, where you have to, yeah, include this stuff. I don't know where. IPDL sources. I'll just do that for now. See if it likes that. How you like that? Let's find out. Do you like it? Drum roll. Find out if this build will, this little change I made. I've seen it before, I've hit it before, and I think this fixed it last time. I think it means like bring in all the IPC stuff. I'm gonna have to. Oh, it doesn't like it. I need booing.
I can't do my work!
Oh, but this is okay. It's a different error, so this is good. Hey, we defeated the error. So now we have a different one. 512 and S window watcher. It says that there's no member named get parent window off of tab parent.h. You sure? Did you try to use Sea Lion from the JetBrains? So I'm being asked by Jotes. Did I try to use Sea Lion from the JetBrains? I'm not familiar with that tool. What is it? And we'll see what Jote says. Meanwhile, I want to get the owner element. Oh, I remember what I want to do. I wanted to like add something to tab parent. I wanted to be like, I want to be able to get the opener of the current window. So I want to expose that. Get parent window. Let me see if I can find an example. So Jotes has linked me to this, which is cross-platform IDE with a 30-day trial. I've never really, like, I'll bet there are ways that an IDE could, like, make me more productive. But I've always found, like, whenever I use them in the past, I used them in school. I used something called Eclipse, which you may have heard of. I found it so heavyweight. I felt like it got in my way more than it got out of my way. So the answer is, to answer your curiosity, to quench your curiosity, no, I have not tried Sea Lion by JetBrains. Would I try it? Maybe. Maybe. You know, maybe it's time I take a look at getting back into IDs. I don't know. Let's see. I want to like expose a method that returns a new NSI DOM window, like get window. Get window by name, for example. Yeah, except that that's an IDL, not an prompter. Get window. MLSI DOM window proxy. I remember what was this? Something about this on dev platform that I need to know about. No problem, Jotes. Happy to answer. Happy to answer. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. It's nice knowing that I'm not like yelling into the void. Outside DOM window. DOM window. DOM window. Starting with this file is empty as its features no longer being used. CPI DOM window for those. So wait, what is DOM window proxy? Is that what is that thing? What I should do is, I'm trying to find the interface for DOM window proxy. I imagine it'd be under like DOM base DOM window. Here we go. It's empty. While passing inner and outer windows through XPIDL. So there's no real good reason why this should be a DOM window proxy. I see. From DOM window proxy. So what do I want instead? What do I want instead? A PI DOM window? get inner window. Hey, this is a perfect example of what I want. Get inner window. Return the inner window. Get target as inner window. Get target as inner window. Alright. So like for tab parent, I could be like target as inner window. What's that look like in the header? Already add reft SPI DOM window. Outer or inner? Shoot, what do I want? Maybe I just want a pointer. SPI DOM window outer. Get outer window. Was get outer window. DOM window outer. SPI DOM window outer. Star get parent window. Does something like get parent window already exist? Parent window. NS window. Get parent outer window. Const. And then I need to implement it. I think that's what I want. If I get a NSPI DOM window outer, why do I want that? I have to keep my eye on the prize here. Why do I want that? I want it so that I can figure out, I need to get to the doc shell tree owner. That's why. So I need to find the definition of this interface. SPI DOM window outer. It'll be under DOM. DOM x.dl. No, it's not. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? So it's not an IDL. Maybe it's just a header. Path. Here we are. DOM window has this, and then we have as inner, as outer. Do we have access to the doc shell? We can get the doc shell. Get the opener window. So there's lots of stuff in here. But I can get the doc shell of the window. Okay. And that's defined on what? PI DOM window, which I would imagine DOM window outer extends as PI DOM window. Got it. Does anything ever just like get SPI DOM window? Not too many things, so let's not do that. So we do that, and then what I want is an NSPI DOM window outer, parent outer window equals open get parent outer window, and then warn if we can't find it, and then we need to get the tree owner. Or maybe maybe there's something better. Maybe because, like, what if I can, instead of getting the parent outer window, does this thing know about dock shells? Get tab ID from dock shell. Dock shell is active. Maybe I can have it just like return the parent dock shell? Because what do I need? What do I need here? Why do I want this? I want it because I get the outer window, and then what do I do with it? I get the tree owner. Parent tree owner. That's why. And what do I do with the parent tree owner? I determine whether or not we are in a private browsing window or not. That's why. So maybe I do want the DOM window outer. So maybe I'm okay there. And will this accept it? Like get window tree owner is going to take what? An NSPI DOM window outer. And that's what I'll have. That is what I will have. All right. Get outer, SPI DOM window outer, get parent outer window. Okay, so now I implement that on tab parent. Just above set owner element here. NS, sorry, what was it? I'm all over the place. PI DOM window outer. Star, tab parent, and then what was it called? My method was called get parent window outer. Parent outer window. Oh man. Window outer. Get parent window outer. Let's be consistent. Get parent outer window. Get parent window outer. And then it's always good to be consistent. Get parent out. Get parent window outer. This will be parent window outer. Okay. And that is over 80 characters. I'll just break that up. Okay. So now implement this on tab parent. Get parent window outer. It's going to well, we had code to do this before in Window Watcher, I'm pretty sure. Or no, we had code to do it. We have code to do it in content parent, is what it is. And I think I removed it. So content parent. Receive, create window, and then yeah, what we do is we get the doc shell. No. Hold on. That's not true. Receive, create window. Parent window outer. We see if we can get the owner elements frame, and if we can, then we get the owner docs window. And if so, and the parent is not closed, then what do? We've already got the parent, then the parent is that. So we need to get the frame from the owner element. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to say nscom pointer frame equals do query interface get owner element If not frame, return null pointer. So this will return null if we cannot get ourselves the outer window or the window is closing. I should probably put that in the documentation. To do documentation will return null pointer if there is no outer window available or that outer window is in the process of closing. So if there's no frame, return null pointer. And if there is, then we get this. NS com pointer SPI DOM window outer parent equals frame owner doc get window. If parent and parent closed, so if not parent, then we should return null pointer. If parent closed, return null pointer. Or I could do this, I can combine them, or parent closed. Yeah. And then can we just return parent? Can we just do that? Yeah. Turn parent.get. Doesn't keep it alive though. Maybe we should make sure that this is a smart pointer. Already. Add reft. Yeah, maybe this is smarter. Parent window outer. Turn parent.forget. And then callers of this get most recent. Yeah, we can just do parent content, no, window watcher. Yeah, this will work. This should work. Parent window outer. Parent window outer. Okay. So window watcher. If there's no parent window outer, we shouldn't just error failure. Try to get the most recent browser window instead. Okay, we couldn't find a browser window for the opener. So either it's been closed or it's in the process of closing. Either way, we use the will get the most recently open browser window instead. And where is that done? Parent get non-private browsing window. There. Then window watcher. Open the window for content. If not, then we'll do this. We'll go parent. Is that gonna work? What is the signature? Hooray! Same thing. Then return as error failure. We get the Chrome window from it. And we're getting the browser DOM window. I don't know why we need to do that, but for now. We need to examine the window that opening tab parent belongs to in order to inform us of what kind of window we're going to open. In the process, we'll get the most recent. We'll use the most recently closed browser window instead. Okay. And then the next step. It's already 2:32. Holy smokes! All right, I'm gonna just do a little bit more, and then I'm gonna call it. What's the next step here? Well, let's see if this builds. That doesn't mean it's right, but let's see if it builds. Let's see. Now what? We get the parent tree owner. And that's useful information. It tells us whether or not it's a private browsing window or not. That's handy. Bunch of warnings in here. Control reaches end of non-void function. Parent window outer. Control reaches end of non-void function. I think I shouldn't have defined it that way. Get window outer. I think I was supposed to just do that. Or am I? Get parent window outer const. Maybe I should just do this. I don't know what the const would be for. Meanwhile, it's building. So now that we've got all that stuff, what's the next step when we're opening a window for the web content? Well, let's look at window watcher. Actually, let's take a look at this my notes here, because they kind of highlight that stuff. We calculate some Chrome flags. I wonder if we should, like, we got a feature string passed up to us. So calculate Chrome flags and ensure that the Chrome remote window is set. Bit is set. What else? We have to get at the parent Chrome, the web browser Chrome. Is that something that tab parent would have given us anyways? No. So we have to get that off of, we get it off of the parent tree owner. And this window watcher. We get the parent tree owner. And then what do? We don't have to do any of this stuff. This is all modal business that only the parent process will ever need to care about if it's opening windows for like parent stuff. We should also make sure that we should probably do this right at the start as assertion. What's the difference between NS assertion and Moz assert? Test and assertion for truth. The expression is not true, then trigger program failure. Whoa. Versus Moz assert. Assertions in Mozilla code. How long ago? It was 2011. Unsuitable. Moz assert. Yay, Waldo. Thanks for these. Falcon has gone awry because of internal invariants were broken. It's the oldest, but unfortunately can be ignored and therefore historically has been. Introducing Moz assert if Moz always true, Moz always false. Moz assert is straightforward. Pass an expression as a sole argument, and debug builds the expression is false. The assertion fails, and execution halts in a debuggable way. Okay. I should use Moz assert. And can I pass in a message? Moz assert. No. This is a to-do bit up here. We get the parent Chrome, and then what? This is where the parent from content really needs to do its job. If M window has error on failure. What's the difference between NS error failure and NS error unexpected versus NS error unexpected? NS error unexpected. An operation did not complete due to a condition which was not expected. The error returned rather than continuing. Failure. So unexpected. Should be returning failures here. Returning these. Okay. And then over here, we're going to create our new window Chrome. That's what I'll call it. Parent Chrome and new window Chrome. I should probably have done this right off the bat. We're going to, because if I don't know why we'd ever have a window creator 2. This is legacy garbage, I say. Okay. So what is in window watcher? NS window watcher .h window creator. What is that? It's an NSI window creator. So it could be technically it could be not the one I expect, an NSI window creator 2. Window creator 2 do query interface. Window creator 2 return NS error unexpected. Actually, I should probably do that down here. And then here's the thing. Here's a thing I wasn't sure about. Will we ever enter this block in parent from content? Are we ever likely to be in pop-up conditions? Is loading or running timeout in the parent window? What does that mean? Is loading or running timeout? Is our window is loading or running timeout? Where if we're not yet loaded or we're running some kind of timeout, am running timeout equals running timeout run timeout handler. Okay, so we're running a timeout thing. Okay, so we might be inside a timeout. Set timeout. And the parent window, I guess, could be in that state if we are in a window that has multiple if we're in a window that has multiple like different types of browsers. Parent window. Pop-up conditions is false. And then pop-up conditions, or maybe we'll start off with like pop-up conditions, because we know we have a parent window now. Chrome. And we are never Chrome, the color's never Chrome. If pop-up conditions, so maybe I should do this. If parent window is loading or running timeout, then I have to create these context flags and then OR them with this. Parent is loading or running timeout. This B2G stuff I do not care about. I don't think. Red file has option features Moz display ID and set screen ID to red file. Might as well maybe put that in. That might be important. I don't know if it is though. Some of this might be even shared with the parent process cases. So cancel is false, and then create Chrome window 2. Parent Chrome, don't have any Chrome flags, have our context flags, don't have a URI to load yet. The opening tab, have that, whether or not cancels, and then the new Chrome, which was defined here. Parent Chrome. If NS exceeded and cancel, then new window Chrome equals null pointer. Return NS error abort. Now what is this URI to load? Create Chrome window 2. Did we even build? We didn't even build. Difference from that declaration. Oh, right. I need to already add reft. All right. I think we got part of the way. I'm going to need to write a lot of tests for this. That's what I'm starting to realize here. Like I'm mucking about in deep old stuff. It's been around for a while. I hope it's going to behave properly, but I really won't know. Luckily, I'm early enough in the cycle that if I land some of this work, hopefully I can smoke out any bugs and back stuff out if it gets too bad. But this is the kind of work I've been doing lately. And the whole point of all this is because I'm changing one of the conditions where, like, NS window watcher open window internal expects to be able to have synchronous access to the initial browser's dock shell in order to, like, size the window properly if the window is being opened with, like, size features, like particular size features. And I'm working on a patch that changes that assumption. And in doing so, I'm like adding a whole, like I would be adding a whole new set of conditions to that massive function, and I just said, no, I can't do that anymore. I have to do this right. So I'm breaking it all apart. That's why I'm refactoring it a bit, make myself feel better, and to make sure I don't hopefully don't introduce new bugs. Hopefully make this code more maintainable. Why are you? Oh, because you've never heard of parent window before. Completely different bug. Is loading or running timeout. Is that something that is loading or window running timeout? Parent window is what? Remind me again. Parent window is of type base window. What? Really? I don't believe you, because it's in scope there. It's the PI DOM window outer. Okay. From parent. Okay. So then that should work. That should be better now. Undeclared identifier RV. Really? Oh, yeah. Actually, I'm gonna break it up like that. Boop. What you think of that? Couple of warnings. An error. Use of undeclared identifier Chrome flags. So like if I make this 0, if I make URI to load, Null. How about now? Do you like it? Yes, you do. Not that that's the right thing to do. I definitely need to calculate those Chrome flags, and I need to figure out what this URL to load thing is. But I think this is a little bit better than what we had. At least I'm hopefully going to like streamline this out. And if I like find common patterns between the parent process case, the parent from content case, and the content process case, I can like hopefully have some helper methods that each can use. And that will hopefully be useful. And then like also for the service worker case, I'll probably end up reusing some of this. But this is a start. This is a start. All right, where are we? It is 2:51. Thank you so much for watching episode 54 of The Joy of Coding. Let's see if there's anything I want to shout out. Yeah, I wanted to talk about a new show. I'm not sure if you saw this, but and I don't think I talked about it. My good friend Armin, my friend and colleague Armin, who works on the automation team, the A team as we call them. Bum ba-dum bum 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 bum. That's the A team theme. He's got a show called The Joy of Automation. You should check it out. If you go to YouTube, he's got 4 episodes up already, and he shows you how our automation stuff works, what it's like hacking on it. It's great stuff. I've been watching it. I really enjoy it. So I've talked about that, filed this bug, refactored that thing, where that's going to take a little while longer. And if you're like Armin and you're in the Mozilla community, I don't know what you're doing out there, but maybe you want to, maybe what you're doing, you want to live stream it. Like I've been doing what Armin's doing. You know, there are other people here. I've got Sean Martell, who's doing The Joy of Illustrating, which shows how he like works on various logos and word marks and art, essentially illustrations and art for the Mozilla project. It's very interesting. Lost in Data, as you can see Joel Marr do like data analysis and triage for performance problems. The Hour of Design, you can watch Ricardo from the Foundation. He's doing design work. It's really, really great stuff. I highly recommend it. You can watch Morgan. I don't know if she's updated this in a while, but she was working on like some really, really cool WebSocket stuff. She was re-implementing the WebSocket protocol in, I think, Rust, or maybe it was Go. She's doing it with Go. And, oh, you hear that? It's got techno music while she does it. So I highly recommend checking it out. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching this episode. Next week, I will not be around, but the week after I will be back for episode 56. We'll skip 55. That will be a missing episode. And if you enjoyed this episode, or didn't enjoy this episode, however you felt about this episode, why don't you rate this episode? There's a link right here in the middle of the agenda that will allow you to let me know what you thought, what I can do to make this whole series better for you. I want to know, so please just fill in the form, let me know what you thought, and I take your feedback to heart. So thanks again for watching. And I will see you soon, not next week, but the week after. Take care. Bye-bye.
The joy of coding.
See ya.